A win is a win is a win, and the Indiana Fever without Caitlin Clark go up against the Las Vegas Aces and last year's MVP, Asia Wilson, and walk away with a W, 80-70. Sophie Cunningham has been hot to trot. Sophie Cunningham has been on fire.
Caitlin Clark was out, groin injury, street closed. No way the Indiana Fever were supposed to beat the reigning champion Las Vegas Aces. But what happened next stunned everyone. The Fever didn't just survive without their superstar, they humiliated Aja Wilson's Aces 80-70 on national television. Sophie Cunningham turned into a walking flamethrower. Kelsey Mitchell shut down every critic who said she disappears in big moments. And by the final buzzer, even Caitlin Clark was on her feet screaming from the bench. This wasn't a win, this was a statement, and it might have just changed the future of the WNBA. If you're fired up after this game, comment Red Hot Sophie below, because what she did tonight, nobody saw coming.
Back in the W chat.
Oh, that was a gut check, Lynn, right there. Oh, nothing in the chat.
Yes, it's Asha Howard!
That was a fun one. My gosh, and these jerseys are swaggy.
The Indiana Fever walked into this game with a storm hanging over their heads. 2 straight losses to the New York Liberty had already rattled the locker room, but the real gut punch, Caitlin Clark, out with a groin injury. For weeks, Clark had been the centerpiece of every highlight reel, every scouting report, every conversation about why Indiana even mattered this season. Without her, the media didn't hesitate. The Fever are finished. One-woman show, no Clark, no chance. Talk shows laughed at their playoff hopes. Twitter was brutal, calling them a team of role players hiding behind one star. Meanwhile, the Las Vegas Aces, 2-time defending champs led by Aja Wilson, last year's MVP, were locked in on making an example out of Indiana. This wasn't just a game for Vegas, it was a statement game. They saw Clark out and immediately circled this date as their chance to silence the hype. The pressure, immense. Every player on Indiana's roster knew people expected a blowout, and that's exactly what made this night different. The Indiana Fever walked onto their home court with the entire league watching and doubting. 12 wins, 12 losses. Not terrible, not great, a team fighting to prove it belonged among the elite. But now, their superstar was gone.
Obviously, there's no timeline for Caitlin, but what has she been able to do this last week? Is it mostly just rehab recovery, or has she been able to do any kinds of practice?
Yeah, no, I mean, we haven't really practiced since the couple days before All-Star break. So mostly rehab, shooting, and she's been with our athletic training team, and we've been preparing everybody else.
Steph, Caitlin presents a challenge in itself for any opponent, but when she doesn't play, how is your team different?
I think our ball moves differently. What we run is different. She has such gravity, and her ability, not just to be at the top of the scouting report, but her ability to make everybody better with the ball in her hands. So some of the things that we run are different when she's on the floor than when she's not. We run some more off-ball stuff, a lot less on-ball action.
Caitlin Clark, sidelined by a groin injury, sat on the bench in street clothes, clearly frustrated as she cheered from the sidelines. And across from them, the Las Vegas Aces, a team built to dominate nights like this. 2-time defending champions, last year's MVP Aja Wilson looking for blood. Vegas came in with an agenda. Prove the hype is fake. Show everyone that without Clark, Indiana was just a lottery team masquerading as a contender. During warm-ups, the difference in body language was clear. The Aces were loose, laughing, dancing like they already owned the building. The Fever? Tight? Silent, focused. It wasn't just a game, it was a referendum on the Fever's identity. Were they a real team or just the Caitlin Clark show? Even Fever head coach Stephanie White admitted the game plan had to change.
Yeah, it's definitely a relief to know that there's nothing else going on and no more damage. Now it's just being patient with the process.
Without Clark's gravity-drawing defenders, every possession would have to be earned. White told reporters, "Our ball moves differently when Caitlin's not out there. The reads are different, the plays are different, but we have to trust our work and trust each other." But trust isn't easy when the pressure feels like this.
You can't have 5-minute lapses against great teams. They make you pay, and they bury you in those moments. I think we've seen throughout the course of the season, where we've been really good for long stretches, and where we've weathered the ups and downs of a game, and we've got to be able to do that from a neutral mindset. We can't get into the playing conservative.
For weeks, sports talk shows had hammered Kelsey Mitchell for being inconsistent in big moments. 20 points one night, 3 for 15 shooting the next. Fans started wondering if she could ever carry the team when it mattered. And then there was Sophie Cunningham. On fire recently, yes, but was it just a hot streak, or was she ready to deliver against the champs? The narrative was brutal. Without Caitlin Clark, the Fever are just average. That disrespect lit a fire under this team. The energy inside Gainbridge Fieldhouse was strange. Part nervous, part desperate, part defiant. Fans weren't sure what to expect, but they came ready to fight with their team. Because the truth is, moments like these define franchises. Lose, and the one-woman team label sticks forever. Win, and suddenly people have to rethink everything they thought they knew about you. And tonight, the Fever weren't just trying to win a game, they were trying to change their reputation. The opening minutes felt like a powder keg waiting for a spark. The Aces came out in full championship mode, pushing the tempo, pressuring the ball, and looking for Aja Wilson early. Indiana looked tense. Shots rimmed out, passes went wide, and you could almost hear the critics whispering, "Here it comes, the collapse." But then, everything shifted. The Fever tightened their defense, and Sophie Cunningham stepped into the spotlight. 4 minutes in, Cunningham caught the ball beyond the arc, no hesitation, bang. The crowd erupted. Next possession, same spot, same motion, bang. 2 triples in under 40 seconds. You could feel the momentum swing instantly. The Aces had scouted her. They knew she was hot lately, but this wasn't just hot. This was nuclear. Her energy spilled into every possession. Deflections, rebounds, talking on defense. By halftime, Sophie had 3 threes, 9 points, and a look on her face like she was done being overlooked. Even the broadcast team said it out loud. She's not just a shooter anymore, she's controlling this game. But the Aces weren't going away. Wilson kept attacking the paint. Kelsey Plum started heating up, and suddenly, Vegas took the lead early in the third. That's when Kelsey Mitchell's moment came. She'd struggled all night. Just 4 of 19 through 3 quarters, clearly frustrated. But in a huddle, Coach Stephanie White pulled her aside and said 4 words that changed everything. "Let it fly, Kelsey." Next possession, Mitchell attacked, hit a floater over 2 defenders, then she pulled up from deep on the break. Swish. You could see it. The shoulders relaxed, the confidence came back, the old Kelsey Mitchell was back. From that point on, Mitchell scored 9 of her 21 points in the fourth quarter alone, dishing 4 assists and leading the team's comeback push. Then came the dagger. With 35 seconds left and the Fever clinging to a 5-point lead, Ari McDonald, who had been quiet all night, stepped into a step-back 3 over Aja Wilson. Splash. The building exploded. Even Caitlin Clark in street clothes jumped off the bench, screaming and pumping her fist. The final buzzer sounded. Indiana Fever 80, Las Vegas Aces 70. Not just a win, a statement win. The bench mobbed Sophie Cunningham, who finished with 15 points on 3 of 4 from deep. Mitchell had 21 clutch points. Natasha Howard owned the paint with 18 and 13. This wasn't luck. This was a team finding its identity when everyone thought they were done. When a team loses its superstar, most collapse. They start looking around for someone to blame, someone to carry the load that isn't there anymore. But the Indiana Fever, they found their heroes. Kelsey Mitchell had been dragged through social media for weeks. One game, she'd look unstoppable, dropping 25, slicing defenses to pieces. The next, she'd go ice cold, disappearing in moments where the team needed her most. Fans started whispering, she's not built for clutch moments. That's why what she did in the fourth quarter mattered so much. 9 points in 12 minutes. 4 assists, and every bucket she hit felt like a punch back at her critics. There was one play in particular, 2 minutes left, Vegas still hanging around. Mitchell isolates, crosses left, pulls up mid-range, drains it right in Kelsey Plum's face. The crowd lost it, and you could see the fire in Mitchell's eyes. It wasn't just about scoring, it was about proving she belonged as a leader. Then there's Sophie Cunningham. Nobody expected her to be the story of the night, but that's what she became. She didn't just hit shots, she kept hitting them when the Aces were making runs. Every time Vegas tried to build momentum, Cunningham calmly stepped into another 3 and ripped it away. She finished with 15 points, 3 of 4 from deep, and energy you could feel through the screen. Sophie's recent shooting tear, 58% from 3 over the last 6 games, suddenly wasn't just a hot streak. It was proof she's become one of the most dangerous shooters in the entire league. The best part, this wasn't about one hero saving the day. It was about the whole team finding itself without Caitlin Clark. Natasha Howard bullied the paint with 18 points and 13 boards. Ari McDonald came in cold and hit the biggest shot of the game, and even Caitlin, stuck on the bench in street clothes, became an emotional leader, standing up, yelling at refs, celebrating every big play. The message was clear: we're more than one player, we're a team. And on that night, that message shook the league. With this win, the Indiana Fever improved to 13-12, climbing into 6th place in the WNBA standings. That might not sound like much, but here's the kicker. They now own the season series tiebreaker against the Aces. Come playoff seeding time, that tiebreaker could decide home court advantage or whether the Fever even make the postseason at all. Analysts had been circling Indiana as a bubble team all year. Without Caitlin Clark, most figured the slide was inevitable. But this win flipped that narrative completely. Instead of a team barely hanging on, the Fever suddenly looked like a squad built to win ugly, grind, and find ways to close games even without their star.
Let's go!
Okay, when we answered runs today, y'all, we had one another's back today, y'all. In the moments where it seemed like they could have made a little bit of a comeback, we stopped that. Yeah, we sure did. Now we have to be able to continue to stack that, maintain that consistency right there. I'm so proud of you guys. So proud of you guys. That was a hard-fought win. You earned it. Together, 1, 2, 3, together.
That matters for one simple reason. Caitlin Clark won't be healthy forever. She'll miss games, she'll have nights where shots don't fall, and opponents will keep coming after her physically. If Indiana can win games like this, games where Clark isn't even playing, they're not just a fun team with one star, they're a contender. And this win gave them something most teams never find in year one of a rebuild: belief. Belief that role players like Sophie Cunningham can turn into assassins when it matters. Belief that Kelsey Mitchell can carry the scoring load in crunch time. Belief that Natasha Howard can control the paint against championship front courts. The other side of this? The Aces, the champs. The team everyone assumes will be there in the finals again. They just got embarrassed by a Clarkless Fever team that had every excuse to roll over. Aja Wilson, last year's MVP, still put up numbers, but her body language told another story. She was frustrated. The Aces were frustrated. One game doesn't decide a season, but for a team chasing a three-peat, this one will stick. It exposed that Vegas might not be as invincible as everyone thinks. This game didn't just shake up the standings, it shook up egos. For the past 2 seasons, Aja Wilson has been the face of dominance in the WNBA. MVP, champion, gold medalist, she's done it all. But ever since Caitlin Clark entered the league, the spotlight has shifted. The rookie has stolen headlines, social media buzz, and even jersey sales. Aja hasn't been shy about that frustration either. After Clark's record-breaking performances earlier this year, Wilson made it clear she felt players like her weren't getting the respect they deserved. So when Clark went down injured, the Aces smelled blood. This was supposed to be their night to put Indiana back in its place, but instead, they got humiliated by the rest of Clark's team. Social media wasted no time. Fans flooded timelines with comments like, Aja got cooked by a team without its star, and the Fever just ended the one-woman team narrative. Even some Vegas fans admitted it felt like a wake-up call, saying, if we can't beat them without Clark, we've got bigger problems. And maybe the biggest takeaway? This rivalry just went nuclear. Clark versus Wilson was already must-watch basketball. Now, there's bad blood, disrespect, and receipts waiting to be cashed when these teams meet again. This win wasn't just about basketball, it was about identity. For weeks, critics said the Indiana Fever were nothing without Caitlin Clark. But on this night, the rest of the roster proved them wrong. Fans rallied behind it instantly. Social media lit up with messages like, this team's deeper than one player and Red Hot Sophie is him. One viral post said it best, if this is what they look like without Clark, imagine what happens when she's back. That's why Fever Nation feels different right now. It's not just Caitlin Clark fans anymore. It's people rooting for the whole squad, for Kelsey Mitchell stepping up, for Natasha Howard dominating the paint, and for Sophie Cunningham catching fire like she's auditioning for a three-point contest, and that's what great teams do. They create moments where fans can see themselves in the fight, so if you're riding with this squad, comment Red Hot Sophie down below, because if the Fever can do this shorthanded, mean the rest of the league better pay attention. This wasn't just a win, it was a warning. The Indiana Fever proved they're more than one superstar. They proved they can fight through adversity, silence the critics, and beat the defending champs on their home floor. So what happens when Caitlin Clark returns? What happens when this team is fully healthy, armed with confidence, and hungry for a playoff run? We're about to find out, and if this win is any indication, the WNBA might have just found its next powerhouse. Make sure you hit like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications, because our next video dives into exactly how Caitlin Clark's return could reshape the entire playoff picture and why the league might not be ready for what's coming next. And if you're fired up after this win, comment Red Hot Sophie below. This team just sent a message, then it's only the beginning.